Something terrifying happened while Jack was sleeping. All the hair on his body stood on end. When he looked toward the door, he discovered a stranger had appeared in his room. What was even more frightening, Jack lay in bed completely motionless. As the stranger approached, he remained lying in bed. As the stranger gradually drew closer, the figure had now reached Jack's bedside. Fortunately, this was just a dream, but strange things continued to happen. The next day, Jack went outside and met his neighbor. He told him about what happened last night. The neighbor then informed him that a girl had once lived in this house. 3 months later, she developed a strange illness. Every day she would say there was something in the house. Until 6 months later, the girl's parents found her. They discovered the girl had mysteriously died. After hearing the neighbor's words, Jack felt terrified, so he bought surveillance cameras online and installed them in his room. Jack placed cameras in every corner, then sat on the sofa waiting. But just then, knocking sounds came from outside. He rushed to the door to check, only to find a stranger knocking at his door, claiming he needed shelter from the rain, asking Jack to open the door and let him in. But Jack didn't dare open the door. Right after Jack refused to open the door, a stranger suddenly appeared at another door. Jack stated he would not open the door. But just then, something terrifying happened. Many strangers appeared outside the windows. They surrounded the house. Jack shouted for them to go away, but these people were frantically pounding on the glass. He was frightened by this scene and collapsed to the ground. Until the next day, Jack awakened from unconsciousness. He found everything in his house was still there. When Jack checked the surveillance footage, discovered the strangers had already gotten inside. While Jack was puzzled, he found several footprints in the living room. This left Jack feeling incredulous. To figure out what had happened, he purchased new surveillance cameras and installed them outside the house. He also barricaded the door with steel bars. Just when he thought nothing would happen tonight, he began sleepwalking in the middle of the night and even opened the front door, walked outside, then returned to the house. When he went back to his room to sleep, he was suddenly awakened by footsteps. The awakened Jack quickly grabbed a weapon. He moved forward with the weapon to investigate, but found nothing, only to discover the surveillance camera had been removed. Just as Jack bent down to examine it, the front door suddenly made a noise. He thought the stranger had escaped, so he went outside with his weapon to search, but still found nothing. At this moment, his neighbor heard the commotion and came over. Jack told his neighbor someone had broken into his house. They returned to the room to check, but found nothing. The next day, Jack found his friend and planned to stay at his friend's house tonight. However, until late at night, Jack still could not fall asleep. He kept imagining that stranger, even staying at his friend's house. He still suspected the stranger was right beside him. The time reached midnight. His phone suddenly received an alarm from the surveillance system. The neighbor appeared in Jack's house. To figure out what was happening, Jack immediately drove back home. After arriving home, he took out his weapon and removed all the bullets, then went with the weapon to find his neighbor and ask questions. But the moment he entered the door,